Hello, nerds! That Just Happened is the name of the show because this is when we talk about the things that happened. This week we got, we're going to talk a little bit about vacation. We're going to talk a little bit about, some movies. We got Mission Impossible, we got Haunted Mansion, we got the new Venture Brothers movie. We got some stuff to talk about, so let's do the thing. Okay, so just a real quick, this is what the show is kind of thing. I try to do reviews on this channel, and it doesn't really work out the way I want it to. Because in order to do a review, you have to see the thing immediately, and I have a day job. I work 40 hours in a restaurant, and doesn't really make for easy digesting of all of the content that comes out every week, and also, broke. So reviews kind of don't happen when they should, and because of that, sometimes they do, but because of that, that's why this show exists. This show is here so that we can talk about the things that we actually got around to watching, reading, listening to, etc., over the course of the last week. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've been gone, and we definitely were interacting with some interesting stuff during the vacation. So we're going to be talking about that. Let's jump into the stuff. So we're going to jump out the gate with vacation talk. I was up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, far away from connections to internets and such. And honestly, just had a really, really fun time. But there were some times we went into town to do things, and one of those times we went to the movies, and I got to see Mission Impossible. We'll talk about that in a second. And then also, he's stuck on my hand now. I got this little guy right here. So this, you're going to be seeing him on the channel a fair bit, because this is going to be the guy that helps me with the shout-out show from now on. So working on some character stuff, I think, for the channel. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a little different and that kind of stuff. Also got this. I got my mic pack here, so I'm going to make sure I don't drop it. But I got this pretty awesome shirt, if you can see it. Ooh. It's a map of Michigan, but it's done in the style of the Lord of the Rings. So you've got Upper Earth and Lower Earth and all of the things. It's pretty awesome. I dig it. There are actually a couple of pretty cool, in the more touristy areas of the UP, a couple of pretty cool nerdy stores. So yeah, that's where we found this and got this, and I was pretty excited about it. And that's where this guy came from too. It was from a little nerd store. So we're infecting everything. We're part of the tourist economy now too. Yeah, so that was basically Michigan. It was 2 weeks of playing a lot of Zelda. Honestly, I got a whole lot of Zelda done under my belt, and that was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Tears of the Kingdom is so much fun. Yeah, so let's move into Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I was so impressed with this movie. I'm just going to say that off Jump Street. Like, this movie it knows exactly what it is. It is popcorn fodder. It is not something you want to necessarily hurt your brain with trying to follow, though there is a pretty deep plot there as far as like Hollywood summer blockbusters go, but it knows exactly what it is, and it does that well. The cinematography, honestly, again, had no right to be as good as it was. Like, I tried to remember the cinematographer, and I didn't write him down in the notes, but you can go look him up on the IMDb or the wiki or whatever. Dude just really knows how to visually make things super, super interesting. Like, there's a good portion of that movie. Like, obviously some of the dialogue is necessary so you can understand what the MacGuffin is, but there is a good portion of that movie that you don't need dialogue. You don't need audio at all. You can just watch it with the audio off, and because the cinematography is so damn good, not only will you still be entertained, but you'll still be able to follow at least loosely with the plot. So yeah, cinematography is fantastic. I mean, the dialogue is kind of mumbo jumbo and a lot of like fun words to say, but again, not the most deep movie. It's not going to change the way you look at movie writing at all. Yeah, I had a whole hell of a lot of fun. I really don't understand why this movie is not doing better than it is. I wanted to say as good as Top Gun, but like I understand why it's not doing as good as Top Gun, but like it should be doing better than it is. And it just, I don't know, it confuses me a little bit, but I don't understand people as much these days. This is, if we're looking for a reason to justify going to the movies, this movie is, in my eyes, was more of a justification than Indiana Jones. I did watch Indiana Jones as well, and we're not going to talk about it because it's not good. But and then half of the people that were with us, the cousins and stuff, went and saw Barbie, and the kids liked the Barbie movie, but the adults that went were like, yeah, it was a movie. So not regretful that I didn't go watch Barbie. And super excited that I actually saw. I mean, I haven't watched a Mission Impossible movie since the 4th one, and this is, I believe, is the 7th. So I missed a couple there in the middle, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to watch all the movies to understand or even feel like you're getting a good value for your entertainment in this. Also, because this is a part 1, you know there is a sequel coming. They still do a decent job with bringing the story of this movie, of this, whatever it is, 2.5 hour movie, to some sort of a conclusion. Like, I could not watch part 2 and not feel like I'm missing a whole lot. Like, I'm probably going to watch part 2 because I liked part 1 so much, but like if I don't see part 2 immediately, like it's not going to be the end of the world, because that was a good movie going experience. There was a conclusion that felt right, even though it does leave open plenty of room for the sequel, for the second half of the movie, I guess. So yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. We also watched Birdbox Barcelona. I don't remember if we talked about this before I left or not. It might have been actually the week that we did just the live show, so we probably didn't talk about that. But Birdbox Barcelona, not great. Not terrible. Like, it's something like if you're looking for something to generate noise while you're doing chores about the house on Netflix, then sure, go for Birdbox Barcelona. But is it as good as the first one? Not really. Is there some subversive elements to it that kind of take you that take you a little bit by surprise? Yes, but are they worth the rest of the viewing experience? That one's kind of up in the air. The first movie, I think, was better executed. The actual plot of the second movie, I think, is a little bit better than the first movie, but just not as well executed is probably the best way to put that. So yeah, I mean, like, watch it, don't watch it. It's not going to change your life either way. The next one is Haunted Mansion. That's right. I watched the Haunted freaking Mansion, and I don't understand. This one's been getting fairly mixed to Midland kind of reviews. Like, this is a kid's horror movie, so like you have to take that into consideration. If you go in expecting to have a fun, mindless time at a kid's horror movie, this is exactly what it should be. This is honestly better than anticipated under that context. Is it a very good movie? No, it's passable, but it's entertaining. It definitely is. I would say that it is a step above the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion movie. So there's that. But like, I can't necessarily say this is something you're going to want to watch like well, no, I take that back. You will probably watch this every Halloween with your kids. Is it going to be something that when the kids grow up and are out of the house, you still watch? Yeah, probably not. But it's still a fun time either way. The Batman animated. So this is one that is many years in the making. I have never watched the animated series called The Batman. I kind of saw clips and pieces here and there. I'm aware of their style for the Joker. I remember the guy who does the voice for the Joker. I can't think of his name right now, but I remember really liking him. But I started watching the series over the course of the vacation, and this is like, it's not the OG animated series. Nothing will ever be the Bruce Timm Batman animated series. That one's just in a league of its own. But The Batman is still pretty solid when it comes to like Batman entertainment, and And it's an interesting take because we get early days of Batman. This is almost like year one in a way. So that was pretty cool. If you haven't watched it, and because you want it to be the OG animated series, go give it another shot because it's absolutely worth your time. It's not going to be the same as the OG animated series, but it is still better than a lot of modern cartoon stuff. So yeah. Then we have Harley. Harley Quinn season 4 started. I watched the first episode, 1 or 2, I can't remember. I think it was just the first 1 episode. Seems that it's kind of course correcting a little bit. We get a little bit more of the Venture Brothers-esque kind of humor, and a little bit less of the overly political, like socio-political stuff that really killed season 3. So it looks like it's heading in a good direction. I mean, there's obviously going to always be the socio-political garbage, but it seems like they're learning their lesson, that they didn't get as good of ratings on the last season. So this season they're kind of going back to more comedy and less ham-fisting, if you will. And the sad thing about this is there might not be a 5th season. With James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over, there has been worry in the Harley Quinn series camp that there won't be room in James Gunn's new DCU for that animated series. But I feel like it does fairly well, so I don't know why he would get rid of it, because it's making them money and they're doing fine, whatever. But yeah, it's so far so good with season 4. Season 3, yeah, didn't really dig it as much, but season 4, so far I'm all right. Next, yeah, okay, we'll talk about Walking Dead, Dead City, episodes 5 and 6. We got a lot of really interesting cinematography in episode 5. Episode 6 was kind of back to what you would expect out of Walking Dead kind of cinematography. But episode 5, there was a lot of very, very extreme, well, maybe not extreme, but a lot of very close-up shots. Which was very appropriate because you're dealing with part of the story where they're very confined in very small spaces. So like these close-up shots make you feel like you're also being very confined in these small spaces with the characters. And it really, really works. A little bit of a subversion of the expectations between the Maggie and Negan dynamic, because the general expectation is if one of the two of those characters is going to turn tail and become, you know, kind of despicable in a way, it's going to be Negan. Like, Negan's the one that is always shady and always doing bad things, but this time, again, kind of spoilery. If you haven't watched it, then maybe skip forward a little bit, but this time we get a little bit of a subversion because Maggie turns on Negan. That was unexpected. That was like, apparently, if you go back and you kind of re-watch or you look at the events that transpired between them, like you can kind of see it. There was a little bit of foreshadowing too with Tommaso and I can't remember, Maya, I think was the girl's name. There was a little bit of foreshadowing there because Tommaso turns out to be kind of shady dude. So like but you didn't know which direction it was going to go, even though that was definitely foreshadowing and you should have expected something because of that. Like, the thing that I expected was the opposite of what we got. So I feel like doing a hell of a job with the storytelling on this. And then episode 6, we get a little bit more of the Croat, and we get a little bit more of the lady who's pulling the strings. I can't remember what they call that character right now. And just we get to see, we're setting up Negan as the new hero in a way, which I think is kind of awesome, because Jeffrey Dean Morgan, yes please, we're setting up Negan to be in the new Rick in a lot of ways, because he now has to go along to get along with this new group of people who are very obviously not great, very bad people. So he has to go along to get along. He has to play their game while also trying to subvert their game, and also trying to destroy them in a way, because he sees that they're bad people. He doesn't want to be that person anymore, even though that's why they have taken him in, is so that he can be that person with them. They're kind of forcing his hand in a lot of ways. I'm really intrigued with where this is going to be going. The showrunner, I didn't write his name down because this is just shooting from the hip, but showrunner is doing an incredible job. I know we've talked about him previously, but like, just doing such an incredible job. He was the sole writer on the project, I believe, which factored into his favor. I think this is playing out very, very awesomely. Episode 7 next week, we'll be watching it and talking about it, but that's all we got right now for that. And then our final piece for this week's That Just Happened is Venture Brothers, Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart. The Venture Brothers movie apparently came out, we could have talked about this before vacation, and I didn't realize it. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, finally got my hands on it, got to watch it. I feel like what Jackson Public and Doc Hammer do is in a league of its own, for sure. Just the continuity, the attention to detail with their continuity, nobody else does stuff like that. So that is such a great a great thing to see, that somebody else pays attention to this. But that kind of stuff also is kind of the reason why it's no longer going to be a show, is because of that, it took them a lot longer to develop each season. So there were, 8 seasons that went over the course of like 12 years. So it took some time between seasons in order for them to do it. But I don't know. I feel like maybe it was appropriately timed that this show was coming to an end, because some of the stuff didn't land, I feel like, as well as it would have back when they were in the heyday of the Venture Brothers. I'd still absolutely recommend. I still would say for sure, 100% go watch this, get your hands on it. It will be coming to Adult Swim soon. I didn't catch the date, but I believe that date has been made available at this point. So if you don't want to spend that money on it, you just want to stream it, and then you can go do that, or you can wait for the physical release. I think I'm still probably going to purchase the physical release eventually. Maybe not right out the gate when it's still, whatever, $40 or whatever it's going to drop at. But it will be, I will own it. It is definitely still that good. Like, I'm not saying like they have slipped too far beyond the pale, but like, just, I had it built up in my mind, because this is the last Venture Brothers story we're ever gonna get. I had it built up in my mind that it was going to be a little bit more epic than it actually was. Everything pays off, though. Like, all of the questions that you have, there are answers for them. Pretty sure. I don't think there was anything that really left unanswered. You have to stay, as per usual with the Venture Brothers thing, you have to stay for the post-credit stinger to really get all of the answers you're looking for, but that was kind of awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this is an appropriate end. This feels cathartic, and I'm okay with that. Like, it didn't need to be more than it ended up being, even though I kind of wanted it to be before we got there. Once you get to the end, it's like, okay, I'm good with this. So yeah, that is everything that happened since vacation. So what has happened for you nerds? Let's have that conversation down in the comments section. Are you looking forward to anything in the upcoming weeks? Let's talk about that as well. Up ahead for me, for sure, this week, the only thing I'm putting money on is Ninja Turtles, and the last voyage of the Demeter, I think, is going to happen as well. Aside from that, there are no real plans as far as what will happen. So Your guess is as good as mine. We'll very likely be talking about Walking Dead again because that's the show of the moment. And yeah, thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. What happened for you? Let's talk. Let's do the thing. Let's do all this stuff. We're going to be heading out, though. Thank you very much for seeing the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here, and that just happened.
I can't believe that just fucking happened.
Is it dead?
Oh my god.